Somebody made a comment, and Carter and I, it really resonated with both of us about how in this day and age with all the struggles and all the things going on, we talk a lot about all the negative stuff, and we would like to talk a little more about positive stuff. And Carter called me and said, what's positive?
I know I did. I called
Yeah.
Kara yesterday and I said, I really want to talk about some positive stuff. I'm in the mood for it. I'm tired of talking about the election and COVID and all this negative stuff. I just, being me, I couldn't think of anything positive, so I called Kara.
And I said, I know exactly what we're going to do because okay, so yesterday was Sunday, and I don't know if anyone else is like this. My head is kind of like a radio. In the mornings, I usually wake up with a song in my head that's like playing while I sleep, and
That's
sometimes
kind
it's
of
a
weird,
song.
just to be clear.
Is it? It doesn't happen to you?
No.
Okay. So I don't know. It's like channeling things. Sometimes it's a song that I heard in passing maybe the day before and didn't even realize it or something. But other times it's just a random song from my memory that I don't know how it's in my head, but it's in my head. So yesterday morning, the song I woke up with in my head was the doxology, which is, I think it's a psalm, but it's a hymn. It's just four lines, and it's that song. Praise him.
Here below something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All
Praise
creatures
him,
here
all
below or whatever. Yeah.
creatures below.
Yeah.
Praise him, the
Something
heavenly
about Heavenly
hymn.
Ghost. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while since
Praise
I
Father,
sang that one in
Son,
church.
and Holy Ghost. That song.
Yeah.
And I was in my head, so I wanted to hear it more, and I was looking it up on YouTube and trying to find a version that sounded like the version in my head. And there are a lot of hipster versions that not really right, but I finally found one that
There's
was
hipster versions of that song.
like the kind of hipster youth pastor Christian, like Hillsong United kind of. That's not really my jam. I like the old hymns with the whole congregation singing, so I had
Okay.
to look to find one. And then so that's a song about praise
Mm-hmm.
and gratitude. And then I got to church, the church on the square, and my preacher, who we've interviewed before, Bradley Helgerson, he gave a sermon about gratitude, and the sermon was sort of, he was talking about how, well, it reminded me of Jordan Peterson talking about how gratitude is the antidote to resentment.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
he gave a sermon about how forgetfulness leads to ingratitude, and ingratitude leads to entitlement, and entitlement leads to resentment, and resentment, if you take it all the way out, resentment on a large scale leads to tyranny.
Can
And
we call him
so
Yoda from now on? I think
he's awesome.
anger leads
Yeah,
to hate,
Yoda.
hate leads to the dark, or whatever the.
Yeah,
I forget what Yoda's.
yeah.
Sorry.
So
I
I
agree,
was
by the
thinking
way,
of,
with what you just said. I'm just
yeah,
reminded
I
of
agree
Yoda.
too. I was thinking
Yoda.
about all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he's Christian and it's a sermon, so he grounds it in Christianity. And he was sort of saying, I guess to paraphrase, I would say that part of the message was that if we are being told culturally not to express gratitude and to have gratitude, that part of your duty as a Christian, but I would argue as anyone's duty, is to push back against that, because gratitude is our only defense. He called it a defense. Gratitude is our defense against entitlement and resentment. And he took it all the way back to the Genesis story of, the Garden of Eden, and, sort of like saying, Satan loves to come in your ear and be like, all the stuff you have, Eve, it's not that great. And, if you just
It's
give
just the
me
Garden of Eden.
just the Garden, give me what you have, which isn't that great, and I will give you worldly blessings and all this stuff. I will give you the world. And how forgetting what our blessings are, forgetting what we have, is what leads to that state of ingratitude, and then entitlement of like, yeah, I deserve so much. I deserve this. I
Mm.
deserve that. And that leads to resentment about like, why don't I have this? That other person took it, or that kind of hatefulness that's born out of resentment. And so I was thinking about that. And so, yeah, when you said, let's do a gratitude episode, because I like doing gratitude threads once in a while and seeing what everybody has to be grateful for. It helps remind me. And
Yeah. Yeah.
And I will say the other thing about this is that I said this to you on the phone yesterday. Social justice, people who are in social justice have a hatred for Thanksgiving. And every year at Thanksgiving, this has been going on for at least 10 years. Every year at Thanksgiving, you'll see a spate of social justice articles written about how Thanksgiving is rooted in white supremacy. Thanksgiving is rooted in colonialism and racism, and just like when they do the articles for the Fourth of July too, about sort of scolding you for even wanting to celebrate Thanksgiving and telling you how you should have like a correct social justice Thanksgiving. Those happen every Thanksgiving, but this is the first year that social justice ideology has been mainstream. It got mainstreamed in the summer. And so this year, I've seen more of this idea that it's somehow, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, you're just celebrating your own privilege. It's your privilege to be grateful, right? I've seen more of that than I usually see because now it's mainstream. And so I'm in a couple of social justice groups online, and there's one of the ones I'm in for my hometown. And I've seen a lot of these woke white women who are new to the social justice faith. It's the first time they've encountered these articles, and they're sharing them, and they're sharing videos, and they're like, "Oh, I never realized it's rooted in white supremacy. I'm not going to call it Thanksgiving anymore. I'm going to call it Turkey Day." And I'm going to, it's this whole
Just the
attitude
season
of,
to virtue signal.
yeah, the season to virtue signal, and to tell people and to tell yourself that there's something wrong with being grateful and thankful. That's what I'm seeing now. So I thought,
Yeah.
let's push back against that.